The first thing Doom did after becoming the Sorcerer Supreme was to approach Spider-Man because he needed someone familiar with pain and a lot of free time, to make him Earth's champion who will defeat the 8 Scions that Strange once promised to defeat to ultimately protect Earth, as he then basically gives him a lot of mystic power along with 8 extra lives, which Peter ends up using to defeat the first Scion, where in the process he gets the most rare and painful death called the Spaghettification. The entity of death, however, realizes that Spidey has more lives, so he gets painfully brought back to life, where he'd then be met by Strange's astral form wanting to assist him in saving Earth. Strange helps him and Black Cat steal his magical book, but nonetheless reminds him that he's not allowed to get any direct help to defeat the Scions. Pete goes on to study every magical book ever and was eventually met with the second Scion that he only had to touch once to defeat. Through testing some theories, Pete gets to touch him and win, but in the process dies to the explosion that he quickly gets revived from, leaving him with 6 lives. Later on his date, he meets the third Scion, who basically forces him through all the tragic memories and mistakes in his life until he creates a time paradox and somehow gets his past self to knock her out and win the contest, though he still dies due to his brain getting overloaded with the memories, but gets revived and starts trying to catch up on his life that he slowly started to lose grip of due to all of this, until the 4th and 5th twin Scions called Calyx and Sierra showed up, only for Pete to instantly embarrass Calyx, where Sierra however tells him that he can only win over her by holding a sphere till it has nothing left to share. The sphere reminds its holder of the inevitability of death, as it then makes Pete feel possible deaths for all of his loved ones along with 3 million others. Peter held the sphere till it was done and ultimately won, but at the cost of being completely broken, no longer able to see the purpose of even trying to do any good for days on end. Zero was for the first time impressed by a human and thus went on a mission, with Strange trying to convince Peter to come back for the rest of the Scions. The brother twin Calyx however broke the contract and went insane, killing everything including May and Pete's friends, which is when Pete came back to his senses and gave all his remaining lives away to revive them, but trying to save the world, Pete died permanently until Sierra sacrificed her life, allowing him to come back and eventually save the world.